Hi, this is Tom Jacobs. I live on the web at tdjacobs.com and also healingsuicide.com. And I'm an evolutionary astrologer, an energy worker, a channel, and a medium. Basically, I'm trying to figure out tools to help people understand themselves and each other better. This is the sun forecast for Libra 2020. So the solar month of Libra 2020, which started today, September 22nd here on Pacific time in the US. So first I'm going to talk about the transition from Virgo to Libra, and then talk about the sun's trek, including certain aspect patterns and certain things that are going on, including the Aries full moon and the Libra new moon later in the month. So first, I think of the sun, I've said on all these videos, these the sun forecast videos, like a giant flashlight in the sky, like putting attention on something. Like a moving high beam, right? That for 2 or 3 days points out something in your chart as it passes. But as it goes around the wheel, right, of your chart and activates everything in turn, in the zodiac, it puts our attention on a certain lens or a way of being. So in Virgo, it's shining light on the awareness of the need to fix things, to improve things, to be of service or make things better. It puts attention on what isn't working well, or who should take responsibility, or your perceptions of who should be responsible for things. And also, your analysis and discernment about tools and how to fix and streamline things. So sometimes it's hands-on work with Virgo, rolling up my sleeves and getting to work, doing stuff. Sometimes it's manual labor. Sometimes it's very high-tech work that results from strong analytical skills. Now I'm paranoid that. Okay. I did a video a few weeks ago and the mic didn't work. Okay, sorry, I just have to check everything. New computer. So anyway, you're aware of what isn't working. You're aware of what could be done about it, whether it's manual stuff or high-tech stuff, right? Skills and tools gained from high-level analytical thinking. Now, sometimes in Virgo, we notice everything that isn't perfect, and we judge. We have critical or harsh criticisms for things. The positive side would be critical thinking. The negative is being harshly judgmental and critical in a way that, in my view, it's healthy to give yourself a chance to be a work in progress when you're living during a Virgoan time. It's true that you can't fix everything. It's true that you don't know everything. It's true that there's certain things that you might not be able to learn, or learn in an effective time frame to address something that you think is important. It's true that some things you could do, but it's not your job. It's, all these things are true, but the Virgoan impulse is to take responsibility, to explore duty and obligation, and to see how to fix things. So when the sun's in Virgo, you're noticing what isn't working well. You might notice your own grammatical issues, spelling issues, or I always do that thing when I'm typing an email and have to backtrack and backspace and fix it. Or, you might realize, I don't give time to this thing, like, organizing the kitchen or balancing a checkbook or some kind of, mundane task, but, you might be thinking about other things. So the sun in Virgo puts your attention on all those things. So it goes well when you decide to give yourself a chance to be a work in progress, permission to learn and grow over time. It doesn't go well when you're harshly critical or judgmental. Now, when the sun's in Virgo, your Virgoan self may come out. We have a lot of people on the planet who have Pluto in Virgo and Uranus in Virgo. And of course, the random smattering of people with like South Node and South Node ruler in Virgo and Sun and Moon in Virgo. But what I want to emphasize, if you have Pluto in Virgo, the sun passing through that sign can be a little stressful because you carry with you some garbage, karmic debris or baggage for many lifetimes about not being perfect or not taking responsibility or showing up with the wrong tools or being late or saying, I can't do this for the 100th time this month. I'm just going to take some time off, and then some tragedy occurs and you judge yourself for not having been responsible, right? That's part of Pluto and Virgo's pain, sometimes. In the link, actually, or in the description of the video, I'll put a link to the upcoming webinar for people with Pluto and Virgo opposing Chiron and Pisces. It's most of the births from during the 1960s. This is a healing course, so it's open to 5 people. We're going to do mini readings and really talk in depth over 3 Sundays, 2 hours each week. So anyway, 2 spots are filled as of the recording today, the 22nd. But I'll put a link to that, because if you have that strong Virgo thing with Pluto there, probably with Uranus, it's really important to get to the bottom of the expectations you may have. So the sun traveling through that sign every year might actually highlight that. Wherever the Pluto is in Virgo, just it being in Virgo, the sun might actually activate you in some way. Now, the point of all this is to be useful and helpful and to leave something essentially better than when you found it. Now, independent of that is your estimation of your own value based on how well you're doing. This is where the criticism comes in. I keep missing that. I keep leaving words out in my writing. That's what I do. I need to not get hung up on the fact that I seem to have a pattern of making a mistake consistently. I need to give myself a chance to evolve and grow, learn as I go. That's how you keep Virgo energy healthy. But you're trying to improve something so that it is useful. Okay. Transition into Libra, which we think of as a sign of relationship, and we, our monkey minds and monkey hearts get fixated on love relationships and, if I only had the right relationship or whatever, right? Or you complete me, until we grow up and deconstruct romance and get over it. But and then actually learn how to work together, which I'll talk about. But transition from Virgo, I'm trying to make this thing useful. I'm trying to improve it. Then it goes into Libra. Suddenly the light is on. How can I share this with others? The thing I do well, the thing I've devoted myself to, the thing I've studied, the thing I've worked so hard. How can I bring it to you? I've already been motivated to be of help and of service. How can I actually get it into your hands? So in Libra, we explore togetherness. We try to get on the same page. It's not actually about balance. It's about attempting to find balance, right? It's a very spiritually mature way of looking at Libra. Isn't expecting things to be smooth, but realizing some people don't participate in their relationships. Some people don't speak up and say yes and no. Some people assume too much. Some people expect things that are unspoken, assumption. Some people want or need things that other people will not give them, and then they get all cranky and weird. If you have Pluto in Libra, the next generation, if you have Pluto in Libra, like what sign hits Libra, something about fairness and connection and harmony and equality and balance will come up for you. So the giant flashlight in the sky working through the lens of Libra says, what's fair? What does balance look like? How can you create it? But more importantly, in my opinion, what are you doing now that creates unfairness? Because if the giant flashlight in the sky reveals to you that something's imbalanced, well, what are you doing about it? Because Libra isn't about sitting there with another person and everything's perfect. Libra is about learning together how to get on the same page, how to nurture healthy compromise, meaning you have to tell somebody who you are in order to get to the place where you negotiate together about terms about the relationship. That person has to tell you who he, she, they is, are, whatever. That other person has that responsibility too, but you do. So Libra, think of it as a cardinal sign. It's not about just sitting there on the couch together holding hands and watching an old movie and never talking. No, it's about why do you keep forgetting this thing? And the other person says, okay, let me try to work on that. Or why are you like this? Or why don't you, it's about asserting, I kind of want this from you. And then being open to dialogue. Is it reasonable? Is it healthy? I don't know. Will you do that? Back and forth. Can I have this? Can I offer you this? I'd love to be there for you with this. What if you don't want it? The negotiation must continue. So in Libra, we want to be accepted, therefore we want to be nice in order to increase our chances of being accepted. And in Libra, if we haven't been accepted, we might get a chip on our shoulder and not be nice, but we want to seem nice. So it's also, the sun in Libra may put your attention on things where you kind of hold an expectation of imbalance. Maybe some people hold an expectation of being rejected or not being taken seriously or not being listened to or not being, like I have this all the time in my readings where somebody calls me, maybe he or she didn't intend to talk about something super personal in this way, but then the person might say, I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you this, right? They don't know me, but they need to assert what they want. And it's things that they think are silly, or they wonder if others will judge or silly. It's really what it is, but it's real for them. I say, yeah, tell me. You have that thought or that feeling, or yeah, let's talk about it. So we need to realize that others have insecurities about being accepted, just like we do. So to keep communication lines open and strengthen those communication lines while accepting, yeah, I'm vulnerable, you're vulnerable. I want you to be nice to me. I want to make you happy, and you might want to make me happy, but how can we do this in a healthy way where I'm adequately representing who I am and you are too, and then we're talking about it. Because when Libra goes not so well, there's compromise that lessens at least one person's self-respect. Or there isn't any compromise and one person takes over because it might seem too costly to listen to somebody if you don't have a good rapport with them. Or if you don't want the same things and you're not willing to work together, you might not want to listen. Or the other person won't make a decision. I have a strong Libra thing on my chart, and when I talk about this, I always have the memory of being a kid in a restaurant with my dad. My mom has some Libra stuff, so being in a restaurant with my mom wasn't quite the same. But with my dad, he would say, oh, well, what would you like to order? And I would look at the menu, and I would have this, like, I don't want to say intense fantasy world experience, but I think I'm going to say that. I would imagine the different options. And I would say, oh, well, there is a fish sandwich, or there is this kind of soup, or whatever. I would evaluate it, and I would really imagine that. My Venus and Libra is in the 12th house of imagination and fantasy. So I would sit there and I would imagine what that would taste like and what that texture was. And he would be like, hey, do you know what you would like the future to come? And I'm in this suspended state of Libra. Oh, I wonder what these two options are like. I remember I'm just going to say, I remember being in this particular restaurant where they had, like, I don't know, like fried shrimp or something. And I remember thinking about that texture because I wanted it. I remember judging it and weighing it and being like, well, I don't know. Anyway, so he would get impatient and he would not dominate and control and push me, but it was very difficult for him to, like, have someone who wouldn't make a decision. So maybe in some relationships, one person feels like that about the other one. We want to get along well, but God damn it, just order something. We want to get along well, but just do the thing. Just make a decision, right? So sometimes when Libra goes wrong, we don't feel open to back and forth for different kinds of reasons. I remember that. I just remember that, those foods. I remember them now still. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to go into an intense fantasy world, but that's exactly what it would be. I'd be like, same thing with a toy. Oh, in the store, in the shop, which toy would you like? Or in a clothing store, you'd say, like, oh, well, which pair of jeans would you like to try on? And I'd be, and because you don't want to commit to the wrong thing in Libra, because it's about balance and peace. And what if I don't make the right choice? So anyway, from Virgo, I want to make this helpful and useful. To Libra, I want this to benefit you. Let's talk about boundaries a little bit. You might have great ideas that others don't want to hear today, or you might have great ideas about what they should do with their lives that others want to live their own lives. So sometimes in Libra, we say, no, thank you. I don't want that advice or something, right? In Virgo, somebody might be ill and somebody else comes in and says, let me help you. And the person says, oh, thank God, help, thank you. That's so helpful. But in Libra, we have to respect when other people aren't open or don't want that thing today or don't want that thing from us, meaning we have to be okay with people not opening to us. It's another theme of Libra. Okay. So let me just think about this. The assumptions, what do I do if I can't create togetherness with you? Do I blame you? Do I make you wrong? Do I try to force something? What if we can't negotiate together? What if you won't hear me? What if everything you say I've heard 1,000 times and I'm done? It's another experience in Libra because you're learning how to work together. Or realizing when you're done trying. That's another part of this. So when things aren't fair, or can't be fair, or other people can't meet you halfway, or expect you to be in charge, or they expect to be in charge and it's hard to find some way to work and evolve together, sometimes we say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. That's Libra as well. So it's a sign of relationship and relating, but it's also the sign of, yeah, I don't need this. Okay. Like, thanks for interviewing to be part of my life. I'm okay. I do not need your services right now, human. Okay. So the sun enters Libra Tuesday, September 22nd in the morning Pacific time. And it's a week later on the 29th at 7 degrees. It's opposite Chiron. So the new moon, or the Aries full moon on October 1st, which I'll pull up the chart and talk about in a second, that moon is conjunct Chiron. But we have a prefiguring of this effect when the sun opposes from Libra Chiron. So Chiron in Aries is now retrograde. Chiron in Aries, we need to figure out how to be assertive, but we don't want to be too dominant. We don't want to hurt others, but we're also vulnerable that maybe what we want isn't possible, or maybe we will be rejected. So what I just said about the sun in Libra being about, kind of putting your cards on the table and asking for what you want, but being willing to negotiate. Talking about what you want to share and offer, but being okay if others don't want it. This is heightened with the Chiron in Aries opposite it. Can I say yes and no? Well, what if you're suddenly assertive and I don't want to feel pressed to make a decision? Can I say, wait 2 days? Can I negotiate? Can I work on terms? Right? So it's kind of heightened here about a week into the solar month on the 29th. And then we have the Aries, well, let me just say something else about that. It's okay to say no to people. And it's also okay to say to people, I don't know if I'm going to say yes or no, but give me a day, give me an hour. Let me call you tomorrow. That's okay, even if the expectation is somebody else. Like, think about the trope in the romantic movie, whether it's a drama or comedy, and somebody gets down on bended knee and has this big thing, and it's like, Joanne, will you marry me? Joanne goes, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I think that does as a dramatic device, right? It's okay if it's uncomfortable, but we must respect where somebody else is coming from. In other words, you can't always have what you want. Okay. So then we have the Aries full moon. Let me pull up. And it's okay if you don't always have what you want. If you think it's not okay, then you have an infant or a little 2 or 3-year-old running your life, a toddler. I say that with great respect and compassion. And also I say with respect and compassion, stop it. All right, so let's, Libra new moon, is that right? No. Yeah, when I do the share screen, it doesn't show me which is which. It says photos. So disregard the houses. Let's see, can I make this bigger? Will it let me? Okay. Okay, good. We'll see if this works. So Thursday, October 1st, 2020, 2:04 p.m. Pacific time, and I just pulled up where I live in Portland. So we have the sun in Libra 9 days into the solar month, right? So you have 9 days of being aware of these themes and how things are working between you and others, what you're offering, what you're not, what you're asking for, what you're afraid of, blah, blah, blah. And the Chiron and Aries thing says, yeah, I don't know, is it okay? I don't know, like tiptoe on eggshells perhaps. The Aries full moon brings something into the light of conscious awareness. By the way, if you don't know, for my monthly and yearly subscribers to my forecasting service, I do at least 30 minutes, sometimes 35, 40-minute channel meditation from Ascended Master Hermes, Jehudi, Thoth, Saint Germain, Merlin. And you can get that as part of the subscription service, but also I offer it as a standalone thing twice a month on average at Patreon. So you can look that up. I'll put the link in the description too. So this is just a little overview, but I do a channel meditation where the Ascended Master teaches you during a guided meditation, which is a pretty cool thing. So something comes into the full light of conscious awareness. That's what reminded me, because I and Jehudi both use that phrase around full moons. So Libra thing is we're trying to get along. That's what's obvious. Giant flashlight in the sky, opposing the moon in Aries. I need something. I feel something. And it could be about desire wrapped around with want, or desire or want with need. But the real key is you realize you must do something in an Aries fashion to counteract or mitigate or moderate or ground or stop the Libran autopilot. That's kind of the key of every full moon. It's not that the something is wrong, it's that you realize in a more temporary fashion, like the moon, becomes full. You feel something, you sense something, you need something. This case, it's conjunct Chiron. So think about the boundaries idea, the walking on eggshells idea, the do I feel like I can say no to you? What if you really want to give me this thing? What if you really want to give me a foot rub, but I'm just like, I do not fucking want a foot rub. What if you want to feed me because you love me? What if you know I'm stressed and you want to try to entertain me? What if I just want to be alone? So think about the independence call of Aries, conjunct with the moon there, conjunct the Chiron thing. The other part of it is, here, I want to give you this thing. Would you like that? And you say, actually, no, I'd like this other thing. Like maybe I'm really invested in something. I want to make you your favorite meal. And then you're like, actually, it's your favorite meal. And I love that you love making it. So you think it's my favorite meal because I've never told you I do not like it. So that kind of truth and honesty, risking, telling the truth where you're vulnerable, you don't want to hurt somebody else, you don't want to be Aries in a negative way, right? That's the kind of terrain of this. Saying no. Not because you feel like having conflict, though conflict may result if people take things too personally in certain cases. Not because of that, but because you realize what you need and it's unique. Now, it could be something you don't often talk about. I'm just kind of thinking, listening to Jehudi and thinking about the themes we're going to talk about in the meditation. But it may be something that you don't want or don't need, or something unique and specific that you don't talk about, but now you kind of feel you have to mention, or it's important for you to mention it. Will I be received? Will the person listen? Do I have the right to want something? Do I have the right to want time alone when you seem to want time together? So that's what's going on here. Now the sun is quincunx retrograde Uranus, and it's about 42 minutes of arc, so under a degree. Quincunx is about 150 degrees. You see the green dotted line. And it's, Uranus in Taurus is about trying to streamline how you use your time, energy, resources. And I just did the subscriber materials today, so that in the forecast I go into all these things quite in depth with the outer planets and inner planets. So there's tension regarding how time is used. We need to have this conversation, is one way to think of the sun in Libra. Quincunx, Uranus, and Taurus, but we both have our own projects, and we're kind of trying to make sure we use our time efficiently, right? And then the Aries moon comes up, and one person says, expletive, we have to talk about this, right? I have to Aries, put my foot down, because that kind of thing is possible too. The other thing is the lunation is square Pallas Athene and Capricorn. And Pallas Athene, different themes I work with. One is loyalty, like taking a stand for a cause. Another one is potentially shelving something about yourself you think will make you not as successful as if you ignore it or deny it. In Pallas Athena's case, it's a parthenogenesis, where she emerged fully formed from her father's head. So she, to be taken seriously as a character witness in somebody else's court proceeding, she has to say, yeah, I wasn't born of a woman, but the father had eaten the mother when she was pregnant. So anyway, so denying something true about herself to be successful in a given context, a woman in a man's world or something, right? A dog in a cat's world, a cat in a dog's world, whatever. Anyway, so Capricorn, one's authority, one's right to be authoritative, the right to be your own boss. Are you loyal to that? Or do you shelve it and try to distance yourself from being firm and acting with conviction? So that squares the lunation. Okay. So are you standing up for what's true for you? You can think of it as sticking to your guns, but letting yourself be in charge of evolving the Aries Libra dialogue. What do you need to say no to? What do you want to say yes to? Etc. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Great. Bye-bye chart. Okay. So back to the notes. Yeah. Then the sun will square the Capricorn planets. I'm considering the asteroid Pallas Athena as one of them, but Pallas Athena and then Jupiter, and those are both now direct as of the 22nd of September. All four of these, and plus Pluto and Saturn later in Capricorn, were the retrograde periods overlapped. So between 4 and 5 months for these bodies, and they kind of overlapped. And so now 2 of them are direct, so we might have a sense of forward progress. And I go into that in detail with the subscription materials with Forecast 1, Jupiter on out. So to get that full story, you can subscribe. But Sun will square those planets from, say, when it's exact to Pallas Athena, starting on Tuesday, October 6th at 14 degrees Libra Capricorn. Then to when it's exact to Saturn, which is the 4th in the series, on October 18th at 25 degrees. So 12 days, 11 degrees-ish. Or 12 days-ish, 11 degrees. So we've been going through those retrograde things with those planets about if we feel in charge of our lives, and if we feel like we're capable and qualified to make our own decisions and be mature and productive and disciplined and whatever. To look at things through the lens of realism and recognize when we are not feeling empowered and where it came from, who we have been, how we can change that moving forward and make different decisions. So then Libra, I'm trying to talk to you, or I'm trying to work on this together, squaring those things. So the dialogue that you're having with other people may reveal to you some insecurities or doubts about how strong you are or how much you have the right to be in charge of things. I can just imagine with some people, plans, like making plans together, but then one person's like, oh, I kind of gotta, I don't know, I don't think it's the right month for a trip or something, like a weekend away or something. I don't know if it's the right time for and that dialogue together, having a life of its own, but one person feeling like he or she needs to assert authority and anyway, that kind of rhythm thing. Squares pressure us to change how we're doing things and what we're doing and why. The dialogue together, Sun and Libra, it's great we're having this dialogue together. But if somebody needs to assert and be authoritative, that rhythm needs to change. It could also be like revealing things. Like we're having this dialogue together, and that actually makes me realize this thing about my assumption about blah, 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 that makes me feel not in charge of my life or not empowered. So it can also reveal things. Whether that's indirect, like you made me think of something, or somebody tells you something. Square is also the energy of, why are you doing that thing that way? Why don't you do it this other way? So you might get advice about how to improve things. Okay, so in that time frame, that's October 6th through the 18th. In that time frame from the 13th, opposing Mars directly at 21 degrees on the 13th, so in the kind of middle of that. And then also opposing Eris on the 16th, also within that time frame. Mars retrograde with Eris and Aries is kind of akin, it's related, kind of akin, right? In a kinship relationship in a way. With a Chiron and Aries, like how assertive can I afford to be? Can I say yes and no? But with the Aries part of it is, I am sensitive to how you react when I push your buttons or reveal your insecurities to you or strike a chord or strike a raw nerve. So the Aries Mars retrograde thing is, how can I be assertive in a way that is honest and direct and forthright and isn't caught up in political dynamics, or I'm walking on eggshells, I'm afraid of upsetting you. How can I be assertive? So the sun will oppose that, revealing some insecurity, revealing some self-doubt in one person. Again, it could be overt, or it could be an organic result of an interaction where you engage with somebody and then later you realize, oh, that was an opportunity for blah, 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 and I assumed this, and so, blah, blah. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the last thing in this video is the Libra new moon. So we go back to this other chart. I don't know why it doesn't let me make it big. There we go. So again, Friday, October 16th, 2020, 12:32 p.m. Pacific time. Again, disregard the houses. 2354 Libra is the new moon. So while the full moon brings something into the full light of conscious awareness, and you may want to have a little course correction or say, wait a minute, that doesn't work, or maybe change this, or I didn't realize this bothered me, or I didn't realize I wanted or needed this. The new moon is a chance for an opportunity for a new beginning. I always, and there's also a channel meditation for this too. I'll do 3 or 4 days before the lunation, available through Patreon and also to subscribers to my monthly forecasting service. But the new moon is planting a new seed. And the way I like to think of it is, you don't know what that is. It organically starts to percolate and brew. And you have a sense or an urgency to step this way or that. So you don't know what it's going to look like, and you're not supposed to be able to control it. So if you set some intentions based on the archetype, the Libra idea, right? We have opposing Mars, we have square the Capricorn planets. So there's some juice in here about what to, how to set intentions or what the themes are. About any of these things. What's fair? How do we work together? Do I expect too much of you? Do you ask too much of me? Do I ask too much of you? Learning about all these things, a new beginning regarding being open to others without demanding or expecting, taking others at their word without taking everything so personally or thinking it's about you, but it's about you learning together how to evolve a conversation together. This is the kind of terrain of it. Opposing Mars, again, personal desire, but might get in the way or might change things, but you may not know. It's a new moon opposing a retrograde Mars. It's not clear. So again, the conversation together may inspire one person to realize what she does or doesn't want. Take the pressure off knowing everything automatically all the time. Just stop it. Because the other thing is the square of the Capricorn planets, and I'd say Pallas Athena, I may not count in here. I may not count. It's like almost 8 degrees or something ish, but definitely the Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, in particular, kind of a more tight orb. But the pressure of circumstance, the pressure, and all 4 are direct at this point. So things might seem to start wanting to move forward regarding, do I feel in charge of my life? Well, here we have this evolving combo together, but I'm confused about what I want. You're confused about what you need, or vice versa. And we're both feeling pressure from circumstance. So kindness, another kind of Libran idea, giving someone the benefit of the doubt. I have this phrase, generosity of spirit. Like somebody cancels on you, if you just assume it's not personal, you can give them, you can just take it in stride. Or somebody shows up late, you don't have to ream that person out because your mom showed up late to your recital when you were 10 and you never got over it, right? Presence, giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? Actually, that's possible. with disempowered memories of not feeling loved. And now people in your life now might repeat certain behaviors or have certain behavior patterns, and you have hot button issues, and it's important for you not to freak out, right? That may be a theme for some of you with this lunation. Can you have the centered groundedness and have faith in the dynamic that both people are working together, and that's established through overt communication, because each person shows up and represents him or herself or themselves adequately, right? You talk about who you are, what you need and don't want, you evolve together, so that when things change, you don't have to freak out. If you hold people accountable for things in their lives they might not be able to control, you set yourself up for inadvertently creating conflict, because you might be guarding something painful or assuming somebody, you can't trust somebody. And whenever you do choose to be more vulnerable, you open up the door to potentially be hurt sometimes. We get deep into that next month in Scorpio, because we'll have a Taurus full moon and a Scorpio new moon later in the month. So I'll talk about those themes then. And of course, the channel meditations will be available. But anyway, the sense of kind of give you the benefit of the doubt. Because the thing is, the square to the Capricorn stuff says, maybe somebody's work calls and they can't be with you. And maybe it's not the same thing as when you were a kid, your mom wasn't available because she was always working. Maybe it's not the same thing. So can you give somebody the benefit of the doubt and not create conflict, etc.? Okay, good. So that is the end. Oh, sorry. And then and this new moon also is trine retrograde Aries and Aquarius, and then, of course, a day and a half or a day before 2 days before the sun goes into Scorpio, it will trine that series. So there's also wrapped up in this the idea of like where love comes from, and is anyone nurturing you? And you may be able to have some objectivity. Aquarius, it's retrograde in Aquarius, about some of those past patterns. And can you accept that people are coming from where they're coming from now? And can you accept that maybe your needs you have to grow up and learn how to meet? Maybe other people aren't in relationship with you, so you can finally have people come to your recital. All right. Thanks for your time and energy. Check out what I'm up to at tdjacobs.com. And again, subscribing monthly or yearly to the monthly forecasting service. When I say subscribers, I don't mean YouTube, people who are following me on YouTube, that subscriber. I'm talking about that subscription service that you can read about at tdjacobs.com. So anyway, take care of yourself. I hope this is helpful, and be well.